Hi everyone, welcome to Believers IAS Academy, Bengaluru. This is the daily news analysis session. In this analysis session, I have chosen some 7 articles from various newspapers such as The Hindu, Indian Express, Down to Earth and other things. So these are the articles we will be discussing today. Without any delay, we will move on to the discussion. And the first article is Italy-India Joint Strategic Action Plan 2025 to 2029. This article was present in The Hindu as well as Indian Express. So the article reads, Defense to Space, India and Italy announce 5-year action plan. So what is this news about? And we will also understand the background of India and Italy relations. Okay. First one. So India and Italy outlined their vision for deepening bilateral cooperation in the Joint Strategic Action Plan 2025 to 29. So this document covers key sectors such as defense, trade, energy and space, etc. And this was issued after a meeting between Prime Minister Modi and Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni on the sidelines of G20, which is going on in Brazil. Okay, so there is a G20 meeting in Brazil which was held in India last year. This year it is being held in Brazil, and on the sidelines of this meeting, Prime Minister Modi and Giorgia Meloni have issued this strategic outline plan. So first we will understand background of India and Italy bilateral relations. Okay, whenever you are reading India and any country's bilateral relation, you should go in this way. It should cover all the like fields, sectors, historical, where historical also covers political, economic, social or cultural, technological, scientific, defense, strategic, international, etc. You should understand a relation between India and another country in this manner. Okay, so we will try to understand India and Italy bilateral relation. First and foremost is political relations. It were officially established in 1947, but in ancient time, Italian many travelers had traveled to India, but the official relations were established in 1947 post-independence. In November 2020, virtual summit between Prime Minister Modi and Italy 2020 to 2025 action plan was adopted, and this 25 to 29 adoption plan is the successor to this one. PM Modi paid first official visit to Italy in October 2021 to attend G20 summit. And during this visit, there was the announcement of joint strategic partnership on energy transition was issued. In March 2023, Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni paid a state visit to India, and she was also chief guest and keynote speaker in the Raisina dialogue. And in that meeting, India and Italy announced the elevation of bilateral relation to the level of strategic partnership. There are levels to the relation between two countries, and the highest level of relation is strategic partnership. Okay, and in economic relation, bilateral trade between both the countries amounts to 14.34 billion euros. India's export is 9.16 billions, whereas import is 5.18 billions, meaning India enjoys surplus of 3.98 billion in India's favor. And Italy is the India's fourth largest trading partner in European Union bloc, followed by first is Germany, Belgium and Netherlands, and it is then followed by Italy. Italy is the 18th largest foreign investor in India with a FDI inflow of 3.53 billion from January 2000 to December 2023, whereas India's investment in Italy is around only 400 million. So India enjoys fairly better FDIs from Italy than Italy enjoys from India. And in defense, from historical perspective, India has a huge footprint on Italian soil because of the supreme sacrifices made by Indian soldiers during the Second World War and for the sake of freedom of Italy. Okay, before independence, India was called as British India, and as part of World War II and other issues, Indian soldiers were to participate on behalf of British India, and during those times, many Indian soldiers lost their lives in World War II. By 1945, a total of 5,782 soldiers died in Italy, with 6 of them getting the Victoria Cross, which is the highest civilian award highest award given for the soldiers for bravery. In February 2023, Italy deployed official to officially in its embassy to the Information Fusion Center, Indian Ocean region, which is an India's initiative in Indian Ocean region. Aim is to strengthen maritime security and support anti-piracy efforts in the Indian Ocean region. Okay, so Indian Ocean region is one of the major hot topics of the world presently, and it is been subjected to more scrutiny from all the countries. So even Italy is also showing interest in Indian Ocean region, especially against anti-piracy, mainly by the Sudanese and Somalian pirates. India and Italy are also exploring joint productions in defense and aerospace sectors as well as technology transfers. India and Italy also have a joint working group on counter-terrorism. Both the countries are against terrorism, and as a means they have a joint working group on terrorism, counter-terrorism and energy cooperation. There was in 2021 a strategic partnership on energy transition was linked to advanced collaborations on areas green hydrogen and biofuels, and then cooperation in science and technology. The first India-Italy Innovation Day, this is very important, India-Italy Innovation Day was held virtually on 14 July 2021. Since then, every year on 14 July, the India-Italy Innovation Day has been celebrated. And India's community in Italy are also called as diaspora. It is estimated around 1,80,000 including the persons of Indian origin. This is the third largest community of Indians in Europe after UK and Netherlands. Okay, so these are the bilateral relation between India and Italy. Now we will understand key highlights of the India-Italy Joint Strategic Action Plan of 2025-2029. What were the key aspects and what were the key areas which were covered under this action plan? First is obviously political dialogue, where they held that there will be regular meetings between heads of government, foreign, trade and defense ministers, and there will be another annual bilateral consultations between the two foreign ministers, and it also aims to intensify ministerial level meetings to enhance sectoral cooperation. And in economy aim is to improve cooperation and investment, aim is to strengthen bilateral trade, investment and joint ventures in high potential sectors. High potential sectors in the sense green technologies, sustainable mobility, food processing, semiconductors, etc. And in connectivity, aim is to collaborate on sustainable transport and climate action, and enhance maritime and land infrastructure cooperation, including the India Middle East Economic Corridor. This has been already explained you. India Middle East Middle East European Economic Corridor, IMEC. Okay, IMEC. It is a connectivity project between India, Middle East and Europe. From India to Middle East, it is a connectivity by sea route, and in Middle East in the Middle East the connectivity is through rail and road. And here from Israel to Europe, that is Greece, it is through port again, and from Greece to Europe it is connected by rail and road. Okay, so aim is to improve the connectivity, and it is believed that it will reduce around 24 to 30 hours of transit time per one travel, because instead of going from Suez Canal, now you can directly access the Europe through these countries. Okay, it will improve the connectivity as well as economic benefits for all the countries involved, and it is also considered as an alternative for China's Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, very important, do read about it, and maybe there can be a question on this one in coming prelims or mains. Science and technology, IT, innovation and startups, aim is to expand partnerships in critical technologies which are like artificial intelligence, telecom and digital services, and then enhance STEM research collaborations, scholarships and joint projects. Okay, science, technology, economy and management, these things. Launch Indo-Italian Innovation and Incubation Exchange Program. These are related to space science and technology, and in space sector expand EASI, that is Agency Space Italy, that is Space Agency of Italy, and ISRO, Indian Space Research Organization, collaboration on Earth observation, heliophysics and lunar exploration. And in energy transition, what is energy transition? Moving away from fossil fuel based energy to renewable energy. So aim is to organize tech summits to foster industrial partnerships, collaborate on green hydrogen, biofuels, renewable energy solutions, and support the Global Biofuel Alliance and International Solar Alliance, in which India is an active member. And in fact, International Solar Alliance was the initially mooted by India and France, and it was resultant of India's effort during the 2020 Paris Climate Summit. And in defense cooperation, aim is to hold joint defense consultative meetings and joint staff talks, etc. And in joint security cooperation, enhance cyber security, counter-terrorism, and capacity building efforts. And in migration and mobility, aim is to counter irregular migration effectively. This is very important. There are other like promote safe migration channel, labor training with a pilot project for health profession. This is like it will be done by all the countries, but this one is very important. Illegal immigration. Okay, both India and Italy are the victims of this illegal immigration. For India, illegal immigration from the neighboring Bangladesh, Myanmar, Afghanistan, Pakistan, etc. For Italy, the illegal immigration is from African countries. So recently, Italian Parliament passed a law to extradite all the illegal immigrants back to their countries. But like interestingly, the Supreme Court of Italy or the Judiciary of Italy said that they cannot be sent back to their original countries because they were subjected to harsh conditions in their country. So you cannot send back. It is against the principle of refoulement. Okay, even the country's parliament cannot pass such a way because of Supreme Court. So that is discussion for another day. And in culture academia, aim is to foster exchange between universities, technical education institutions, promote film co-productions and enhance tourism, and strengthen cultural bonds and implement 2023 executive program for cultural cooperation. Italy and India both are like cradles of civilization. In India, around 2000 BCE, 2000 to 3000 BCE, there flourished Indus Valley civilization, and then Vedic civilization, and rest other things. And in Italy, Italy was home to Rome Empire, one of the more famous empire of the world, that is Rome Empire. More than 100 countries were included in Roman Empire, and because of Roman Empire, Italy is full of UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Okay, highest UNESCO World Heritage Sites in the world are present in Italy, and even India is also one of the third highest UNESCO World Heritage Sites. So both share important cultural heritage. So this is about first article, and second one we will read about One Day One Genome Program. This was an article in Press Information Bureau. They said recently One Day One Genome initiative was launched to harness the microbial potential of India on the first foundation day of BRIC held in National Institute of Immunology. Where is National Institute of Immunology? It is present in Nelamangala, Bengaluru. Okay, Nelamangala, Bengaluru. So what is the program is? It will highlight unique bacterial species found in our country and emphasize their critical roles in environment, agriculture and human health. Okay, so before we dig into this role, we should understand what is gene, genome and DNA. Okay, within DNA is like what to say, double helical structure where it is connected by nucleotides A, T, G, C. Okay, in DNA there presents genes. Okay, these genes they code for a particular protein. Which will have a phenotypic expression. Okay, for example, your hair. Okay, your hair is coded by a gene present in your body, and it results in the formation of hair. Okay, suppose your muscles. For muscles also there is a gene which codes for your muscles, and this gene is present in the form of ATGC. Okay, and what is genome in then? Genome is the repository of all the genetic information present in any organism. Suppose in human beings, all the genomes, all the ATGC sequences in the present in the DNA, everything is included in genome. It is a repository or the library of all the genetic information present in a human being or any organism for that matter. So this is genome. So the One Day One Genome program has been introduced by Department of Biotechnology, and Biotechnology Research and Innovation Council, BRIC. Don't confuse it with the BRICS. Okay, this is different, that is different. Aim is to release fully annotated bacteriological genome isolated in the country, freely available to the public. So what you are going to do is, you are going to sequence the bacteria. So bacteria, microorganisms, and bacteria have various positives and negative impacts. So you are going to genome sequence this. What is genome sequencing? Okay, this sequence, as I explained, in a helical space DNA, there are sequences A, T, G, C. What is A, T, G, C? These are nucleotides. A is adenine, T thymine, G guanine, C cytosine. A codes with T, G codes with C. Okay, so there is a sequence, and all these sequences are like all these sequences are coded. The coding of these all sequences is called as genome sequencing. Okay, what is the use of genome sequencing? Genome sequencing. Within genome sequencing, there are two types. One is structural genome sequencing. Structural in the sense, you are going to code, or you are going to sequence all the sequences. Okay, you are going to identify all the sequences in an organism. Whereas functional genomics is after sequencing the DNA, after sequencing the genome, you are going to identify those strands or those code, like those sequence or those strands which are responsible for coding. Okay, which serves a particular purpose. Okay, in DNA there are many sequences. Not all the sequences are important for your human beings or important for organisms. Only certain sequences, only certain genes are responsible for coding. Identifying that gene or identifying that structure is called as functional genomics. Okay, so this is clear. With the help of functional genomics, their positives and negatives can be implemented in various applications. And role is, this will be complemented with the detailed graphical summary, infographics, and genome assembly annotation details. These documents will thus give an idea about the scientific and industrial use of these microbes. Okay, since it will be made available to the public, every public or any person can make use of this information. These documents will thus give an idea about the scientific and industrial use of these microbes. Consequently, microbial genomics data will become more accessible to the general public, scientific researchers, and thereby stimulate discussions, innovations, directly benefiting the entire community and ecosystems. Okay, because first we will understand, we'll read this, then we will go for. Okay, so genome sequencing will allow the visualization of hidden potential of microbial world to the community at large. Sequencing data can be analyzed to identify the genomic encoded capacities for various important enzymes, antimicrobial resistance, bioactive compounds. Okay, by doing the sequencing, by functional genomics, you are going to understand importance of enzymes. You are going to understand the sequence which is used for coding for a particular enzyme. Okay, you are going to use this sequence for understanding the reasons behind antimicrobial resistance. What is antimicrobial resistance? Suppose there is a microbe or a pathogen. Initially, there was a drug developed for this one, and this drug was effective against this microbe. Over a period of time, this microbe says that you are not going to work on me. Okay, you are not going to work on me, and I am going to resist you. It will develop a resistance against this drug such that the drug becomes ineffective against that particular microbe. That is called as antimicrobial resistance. There are various reasons behind antimicrobial resistance, but with the help of this genome sequencing, we can overcome antimicrobial resistance. And then also code for the bioactive compounds. With the help of sequencing, you can code for bioactive compounds. We can produce bioactive compounds outside of the human body, outside of the microbes, etc. That is about genome sequencing. And significance of this one is, it will lead to benefit for better protection and management of our environment, development in agriculture, and improvement in human health. Okay, so microbes have importance in all these fields. So first we now understand relevance of microbes or microorganisms. In environment, they play important role in biochemical cycles, soil formation, mineral purification, degradation of organic waste, and toxic pollutants, along with methane production. Okay, for example, in biogeochemicals, many of the microorganisms, what they do is they help in continuing the cycle. For example, sulfur cycle. This is one of the sedimentary biogeochemical cycles. Okay, here what the microorganisms helps is, microorganisms helps in breaking down the sulfur. Once it is broken down, then it can be used by other animals. And in soil formation, microbes again break down the soil, break down the not the soils, break down the rocks, which will result in formation of soils. And in mineral purification, microorganisms again, like microorganisms purify the mineral. If there is any impure substances present in the minerals, it is purified by the microorganisms. And degradation of organic waste. Okay, many microorganisms are have the capacity to consume pollutants. Okay, those organisms are used in biodegradation of organic waste. For example, Thierry has developed oil zapper. What is oil zapper? Oil zapper is a component composed of microorganisms who break down pollutants, majorly oil spills in the seas. Okay, what is oil spill? Whenever there is a container containing petroleum is because of any accidents, it will leak the oil into seas, sea or ocean. That will result in the impairment of ability of the bird to fly and rest of the other things. It will also lead in catching the fire. Okay, in that case, these microbes help in breaking down this oil zapper. This process is called as bioremediation. Okay, and then toxic pollutants along with the methane production. So all these activities are done by microorganisms in an environment. So they cumulatively play important role in maintaining the homeostasis in our planet. What is homeostasis? That is creating balance. Okay, maintaining balance. And then in agriculture, they help in nutrient cycling, nitrogen fixation, maintaining the soil fertility, controlling pests, weeds and stress response. And in flora of microorganisms, microorganisms symbiotically associate with plants and help them in nutrient water uptake. Okay, so nitrogen fixation, best example is Anabera or Clostridium. These are certain bacteria which help in nitrogen fixation. Okay, and these bacteria also help in improving the soil fertility. So these are the activities or advantages of microorganisms in agriculture. And in human beings, and again, microorganisms symbiotically associate with the plants. Okay, there is a famous example of symbiosis between plants and microorganisms. Do rate in the comment box. Okay, you should be knowing this one, since from the childhood you will be learning about this one. So do rate in the comment box. In humans, they outnumber the number of human cells in human body and are essential for our digestion, immunity and even mental health. Okay, so there are certain bacteria called as gut bacteria. What is the importance of gut bacteria? They help in digestion. Okay, they will break down the food into smaller particles and then they will help in the digestion. More number of gut bacteria, more healthier you are. Okay, so many of the times there are medications which will help in improving the status of gut bacteria in your body. So this is why they play very important role. Now with the help of all this genome sequencing, you can better develop biological compounds, better develop vaccines and other things. And then third article is about fossilization. There is an article in Indian Express. Article read fossilization, a freeze of geological time. So you'll understand what is fossilization. Fossilization is the process by which organic material like plants, animals and other life forms are preserved in the earth's crust over a geological time. Okay, if you have seen these Jurassic Park movies, so you would be seeing those fossils of dinosaurs, which are present in the underground, which are present in the earth's crust. They are formed over the period of time. So these are fossils, and formation, it is a rare occurrence in natural form, as most organisms decay before they can even get fossilized. Okay, so not all the organisms which die become fossils. Only certain organisms become fossils. Most of the organisms, most of the animals which die, they get decayed as soon as they die because of microorganisms, because of other scavengers, etc. But once by chance, if they are buried underground before the decay process can even start, then those kind of organisms will result in formation of fossils. So it can take anywhere from thousands to millions of years. So the process is a long one. Conditions for formation is The organisms must be buried quickly after death, as scavengers, bacteria and environmental factors like weathering and decay will break it down. So it should be buried as soon as it dies before the decaying process can start. Ideal conditions are, ideal places, it is any place with a deep water, tar pits or areas with a rapid sediment deposition where the remains may be fossilized before the decomposition process can fully set in. Okay, so wherever the area is composed of deep water, tar pits or areas with a rapid sediment deposition, these places provide an ideal condition for the formation of fossils. Near immediate burial, it isolates the remains of environmental factors that would otherwise decompose the organism. So these are two ideal conditions for the fossilization process. In stages of fossilization, first and foremost is the organism has to die. Okay, so death, when fossilization begins at the moment when it dies. So here example, there is a example of dinosaurs. So this is Argentinosaurus. It is already dead, and as soon as it dies, it gets buried. So organism dies often ends up in a place where it is covered in the sediments. In this way, it is covered by water. Okay, oceans, and in this, over the period of time, this sediment is again covered by another sediment, and that sediment is again covered by another sediment, and over the periods of years, that takes from anywhere between thousands of years to millions of years, these dead dinosaurs turn into fossils. When the excavations are done by paleontologists, they are able to get the fossils in the pristine form. With the help of fossils, they are able to study the they are able to deconstruct or study the dinosaurs in its true form. Okay, so that is fossilization. The type of sediment in which organism buried can significantly affect the type of soil. Okay, fossil. So sediment can also affect the type of fossil. Here they are giving aquatic organisms usually end up being buried in fine mud and silt, which are more likely to preserve structures like shell and bones. When an aquatic organism is buried under fine mud and silt, it will result in the formation of fossils such as shells or bones. While organisms buried under volcanic ash can result in a very detailed fossils because of volcanic ash, it is so hot that it will kill all the microorganisms and all the other scavengers who try to eat that one. So that is why they are preserved in the pristine form. And then permineralization, it is a process in which the minerals in the surrounding sediment replace the organic material in the hard parts of an organism. Okay, once the body is buried underground, like most of the hard parts such as bones, teeth, etc. remains, but whereas the softer parts of the body such as skin, muscles, etc. they are decayed and they are occupied, those places are occupied by minerals. This is called as permineralization. When does it occur? When the mineral rich water seeps into the pores and cavities of hard parts and it crystallizes within these parts, preserving the original structure. Whenever there are cavities or whenever there are gaps, the mineral rich water seeps into that and it crystallizes in that form only. Okay, so harder parts they include bones, teeth, shell and wood. Softer part include muscles, skin, etc. In rare cases, under exceptional conditions like extreme freezing, mummification or entrapment of amber, soft tissues can also be preserved. Okay, in areas such as Arctic or in areas such as Himalayas, because of freezing conditions, because of very cold conditions, the complete body including the soft parts is preserved. You might have seen many images of mummies which are preserved in the ice. They are preserved in a very pristine form. This is because of extreme freezing conditions. And mineralization is, it converts the remains of rock like substance like the calcium carbonate or silica can replace the original material, turning the bones or shells into fossilized forms. Okay, this is nothing but conversion of fossils into minerals. So this is about fossilization. And article number 4 is about naturopathy. So there is an article in PIB. It says that celebrations of Naturopathy Day at the Central Research Institute of Yoga and Naturopathy, that is Nelmangala, Bengaluru. There is the 7th Naturopathy Day. So you will understand what is naturopathy and why the Naturopathy Day is celebrated. So naturopathy, it is a unique system of medicine that promotes health by system of medicine that promotes health by aligning with the nature. So you are going to improve your health with the help of nature. You are going to align your lifestyle with the nature. instead of depending on the chemicals, instead of depending on the external sources, you are going to improve your health with the help of nature. So it focuses on body's natural ability to heal, emphasizing treatments like diet, exercise, fasting, hydrotherapy, homeopathy, botanical medicine, detoxification, and lifestyle counseling. So here it is mostly focusing about lifestyle issues. Okay, instead of depending on the external sources such as medicines, instead of depending on the chemicals, you are going to improve your health by these things. That is, you are going to maintain proper diet, you are going to exercise every day, you are going to do intermittent fastings, you are going to do homeopathy, botanical medicines, etc., etc. These are all available readily in the nature itself. It teaches us what to eat, drink, act, and live in moderation. It equips us with the art of self-management, enables us to stay healthy for spiritual pursuits. Okay, so there are 6 principles. First is do no harm to the nature, and then the healing power of nature will help in improving your health. Identify and treat the causes of your issues. Doctor is a teacher. Treat the whole person, not just the particular part. You should treat the whole person as a whole. And then is prevention. Instead of going for the cure, better is to prevent. So about naturopathy, it has its origin in the roots of Germany. In the Germany, it was the term naturopathy was first coined by or used by John Schell in 1895, and Benedict Lust was known as the father of modern naturopathy and popularized it in the United States. Introduction in India. Okay, many people claim that naturopathy was present in India ever since the modern naturopathy was introduced in India, because Ayurveda, okay, Siddhi, Unani, these are all different names for naturopathy. Okay, these are all medical medicines which are present in the nature itself. Okay, but in modern naturopathy was introduced in India, it gained influence in the prominence in new science of healing. It is a German nutritionist book which was converted into Telugu in 1894 and later into Hindi. It helped spread the principles of naturopathy across country. And Naturopathy Day, it is observed in India on 18 November since 2018, the day on which Mahatma Gandhi, again it has to do with Mahatma Gandhi, became a life member of Nature Cure Foundation Trust and signed the deed in 1945. Okay, the date, that is 18 November, is the date on which Mahatma Gandhi became life member of the Nature Cure Foundation. So Gandhiji considered the founding figure of naturopathy in India. So in initiatives in India to improve naturopathy is Central Council for Research in Yoga and Naturopathy, which is under the Ministry of Ayush and was inaugurated in Haryana in 2024, very recently. And National Institute of Naturopathy, titled Nisarga Gram, was inaugurated in Pune in 2024. And India is going to create a chain of research and teaching institutes like Central Research Institute in Yoga and Naturopathy with 100 to 200 bed hospitals to conduct high level research in various states. Okay, these are all the various institutions or various initiatives taken by government to improve naturopathy. There are already 2 CRYNS, one is at Karnataka, another one is at Haryana, and these are already operational. And India aims to establish yoga and naturopathy diet centers across the nation. So aim is to improve lifestyles, aim is to improve health through improving the lifestyle. This is about that naturopathy. And there was another article about small and medium enterprises. So the article was present in The Hindu. It says that SEBI moots tighter SME IPO rules to lower investor risks. Okay, so it is a knowledge rich, okay, value rich sentence. So you'll understand what is SME, what is IPO rules. Okay, first is SEBI has proposed new guidelines to make small medium enterprises initial public offerings safer to investors. The changes aims to enhance compliance, reduce risks and improve transparency, etc., etc. First we will understand what is small and medium enterprises. As the name says, in India are the businesses that are categorized as small scale industries or medium scale industries. How do you classify in India? You classify micro enterprises based on investment and turnover. If the investment is up to 1 crore and if the turnover is up to 5 crore, it is called as small or micro enterprises. And if the investment is up to 10 crore and turnover is up to 50 crore, it is called as small enterprises. Medium entrepreneurs, if the investment is 50 crore, turnover is 250 crores. Okay, 1 to 5 crore micro, 10 to 50 crore small, 50 to 250 crore medium. So new key proposals are there should be minimum IPO size. Okay, you should be wondering what is IPO. IPO is initial public offering. Okay, what is initial public offering? Whenever there is a company which has been established by an individual, after gaining certain popularity, after gaining certain turnovers, if it wants to list itself, for the first time in stock exchange, okay, listing itself in the stock exchange for the first time is called as initial public offering. Okay, in the initial public offering, a country is going to list itself and it is going to sell its share to the investors. Okay, once the shares are sold in the initial public offering, investors are going to buy those shares and the company is going to get investment from these investors. Okay, so initially there was no minimum IPO size. Now the introduction of minimum IPO size has been increased to 10 crore, replacing the current scenario where no minimum is mandated. Hike in application size, increasing the minimum IPO application size to 4 lakh from current 1 lakh. Promote restrictions, limit the sale of promoter shares to 20% of the issue size during the IPO. And then profitability requirement, SMEs must show a minimum operating profit of 3 crores in the 2 out of the 3 years prior to filling IPO papers. Okay, if you want to list yourself in the stock exchange market, immediately before listing, in the immediate 3 years before listing, you should have at least 2 years where the profit should be of 3 crores. Okay, so that you are a profitable company and there is no risk involved in investing in your company. You have to prove that to the regulators. Okay, and then disclosure and monitoring. So these are the certain things which are making IPO more risk free. IPO documents that must be made public at least 21 days before listing. If these documents are made public before the listing, the individuals who are aiming to invest in these shares can analyze the positives and negatives of this IPO and then they can decide to invest in this market. A compliance monitoring agency will oversee the utilization of fund raised through IPOs. Okay, most of the times what happens is a company will list itself in the stock market, and with the help of hype and with the help of overinflation, they are going to raise more money, and as soon as they get the money, they are going to use that money for other activities. Instead of improving their own company, they are going to use that money for other activities. So who is the loser here? The losers are investors. So in order to avoid this one, a compliance monitoring agency will be provided who will be overseeing the utilization of funds. SME must also disclose quarterly results and shareholding patterns similar to larger listed companies. And what is the rationale is, these measures follow concerns over inflated valuations, fund misutilization and investor losses in SME segment. Recently many of the SME segment have been involved in these things where they are inflating the valuations so that more people can buy their shares at a higher rate, and then they are misutilizing the fund, and then it is leading to investor losses. Aim is to safeguard the smaller retail investors and ensure that SME market remains healthy and trustworthy. This is about SMEs. And another article is about aphantasia. Okay, this was present in Down to Earth article. So it says that a study published in Current Biology by Robert S. Luciani and colleagues at University of Glasgow explores the relation between auditory and visual senses in the people of aphantasia. Okay, it is a simple topic. I will just explain it here. What is aphantasia? Okay, suppose you are an individual. If you are asked to close your eyes and asked to imagine a particular thing, for example, close your eyes and imagine apple. Okay, there is going to be a image of apple which is established in your mind. Okay, but people with aphantasia, if you ask them to close their eyes and then tell them to imagine an apple, they cannot imagine, they cannot create a mental image of apple. Okay, so those are the persons are called as aphantasia. So those are the persons are called as, they are dealing with aphantasia. That state is called as aphantasia. Okay, so aphantasia is condition where some people cannot create pictures in their mind. For example, close your eyes and apple, you are able to create an apple, that is majority of people, whereas certain people they cannot create apple, they just see that okay, it is a fruit, red, it is a fruit, it is red, it is sweet and it is round, but they are not able to create the image of this particular apple. But there are certain people who are called as hyperphantasia. What is hyperphantasia? Hyperphantasia is they are not only just going to create the image of apple, they are going to create the image of where apple is produced, where like how it is produced, etc., etc. And then aphantasia first observed in 1880s by British polymath Francis Galton and later named in 2025 by neurologist Adam Zaman, is a condition where individuals have limited or no ability to visualize images in their mind. Okay, commonality, only about 2 in every 100 people might have it. It is not an illness or disability, it is just a different way that some people's brain work. Does it affect the people? For most people, sounds like baby crying, birds chirping can create mental images, but for people with aphantasia, doesn't happen, but doesn't mean it is going to like adversely impact the individuals. Why does this happen? Scientists are still learning about this, but they just know one thing as it happens because that a part of the brain responsible for imagining the things work different in people of aphantasia, but they don't know why this happens. Is it a problem? It is not a problem, because it is just a different way of experiencing things. They are going to feel the same as us, they are going to experience the same as us, but only difference is they are not able to imagine the things. So this is about aphantasia, and there was an article or editorial in Indian the Hindu. This editorial dealt with prison tag. Okay, what is prison tag? Recently Supreme Court committee has recommended for the use of electronic tagging. Okay, electronic tagging and tracking of prisoners. Okay, why is this? Indian prisons are suffering from overcrowding. Okay, suffering from overcrowding. They are presently working at a capacity of 131%. Yesterday's topic of the day, I will discuss this detailedly, okay, completely, but I am just trying to explain you about the editorial here. So 131% of the total prisoners present in the prison, 75% are under trials. Okay, 75% are under trials. Who are under trials? They have been charged of a particular offence, but their commission of offence has not been completely proven in the court, so they are still under trial. Till the completion of trials, they are kept in the prison. So 75% are under trials. So these recommendations, first it was recommended by Mullah committee and Krishna Iyer committee. All those committees recommended for this one, that is whoever is under trial, okay, whoever is under trial and whoever is in prison during the under trial, if he is in under trial because of minor offences, okay, for these prisoners, instead of keeping them in the prison, release them. Instead of keeping them, release them from the prison with electronic tracking. Okay, electronic tagging, it is a device which will be tied around their leg, okay, tied around their ankle, which will track them. Okay, that is going to track their locations, and with the help of this tagging or with the help of the tracking, whenever they are required by the court to present at the court, whenever they are required by the court to come to the court for the trial, then they are going to be asked to come here. And if they say that they are not going to come, or if they don't respond, using this tracking, using this electronic tracking, they can track the individuals and then they can be put back to the jail. So what happens here is, instead of keeping all the people who are under trial into the jail, you can just send them back home. You can monitor them using the electronic tag. It is going to reduce the prison it is going to reduce the prison crowding. Okay, so this is about this editorial, nothing extra is given here. And then sixth one is about digital sequence information. Seventh one is about digital sequence information. Recently, COP16 Biodiversity Conference set up Cali Fund to support biodiversity conservation in the countries providing for digital sequences. Okay, COP16 Biodiversity, CBD. What is CBD? Convention on Biodiversity. So this convention on biodiversity has a conference of parties every year, and this is the 16th conference of party, and where they have decided to set up Cali Fund. What is this Cali Fund going to do? It is going to support biodiversity conservation in countries providing digital sequencing information. So first you will understand what is digital sequencing information. Digital sequence information is nothing but, we already discussed about genome sequencing, genome sequencing or genetic sequencing, like we have a library, that is where in the library we are going to have the sequencing of particular individuals or about diseases or microbes, etc., etc. If this data, if this physical data is present in a digital form, if this is stored in a digital form such as computer or any other clouds, it is called as digital sequence. Okay, so that is digital sequence. That is nothing but DNA sequencing is the process of determining nucleic acid sequence order of the nucleotides in DNA. Okay, we already discussed about this one in the previous one day one genome. Here, unique genetic codes and sequences in all the living organisms hold information needed for them to develop and function. This is what is called as functional genomics. Functional genomics. So digital sequence information is, it is the digital data of genetic information of plants, animals and microbes. Okay, whatever the physical data is here, it is converted into digital data. So data types, it covers any information derived out of these nucleotides or amino acids, sequences, genome sequences, their biochemical composition, gene locations, genetic maps, etc., etc. So all these things are presented in digital sequence information. And DSI databases, they are typically stored in global databases such as GenBank, EMBL, EBI or DDBJ. These are some of the DSI databases, global digital databases. So where this digital database or what digital database includes is, it includes physical specimen, and from the physical specimen they are going to infer the chemistry of the particular gene coding, and it is going to infer the phenotype. Already discussed what is phenotype. A gene is going to code to a particular protein, and protein is going to code for a particular physical attribute, and the genetic expression which is being expressed in the phenotypic, it is called as phenotypic expression. For example, there is a gene which is going to code for your hairs. Okay, that gene is genotype, and the expression of your hair, the hair growing on your head, it is called as phenotype. And then DSI library has the sequencing, and then spatial information. What is spatial information? There are certain genes, and these genes location on the chromosomes, location on chromosomes is already known. This is known as spatial information. And then indigenous knowledge, that is a particular community has a particular knowledge about diseases or any other plants, any medicinal plants, any animals, etc. These are all included in digital sequence information. Okay, so what is the significance? It helps in basic science research. It allows researchers to investigate how genes interact with each other and helps evolutionary studies. Biodiversity conservation, it enables scientists to analyze the genetic material of the endangered or extinct ones without replacing the physical samples. With the help of understanding genetic materials of the animals which are endangered or extinct ones, you can use that sequencing for cloning. Okay, this helps in biodiversity conservation. And then disease research for identifying and tracking pathogens like viruses, bacteria and parasites, etc., etc. And then, for example, during the COVID-19 pandemic, global sharing of SARS-CoV-2 genome via DSI databases allowed scientists worldwide to develop diagnostics, treatments and vaccines quickly. Okay, there was a GenBank, some sort of alliance, okay, global alliance on, I am not able to recall that one. It helped people to provide the digital sequencing databases to all the countries. Using these database sequences, many countries developed vaccines, and which resulted in dealing with the pandemic effectively. Okay, and then vaccine development, again this database can be used in vaccine development and agriculture and food security, as already discussed in microbial genome sequencing. This crop improvement by identifying the genes associated with desirable traits such as drought resistance, pest tolerance and highest yields. For example, okay, there is a brinjal, BT brinjal or BT cotton. Okay, what is BT cotton? It is a genetically modified cotton. Here, like the genes of bacteria called as Bacillus thuringiensis. These genes are included into the cotton. What is the specialty of this bacteria? It is pest resistance. Okay, it is pest tolerant. Okay, now this cotton is able to resist the pest, and many other things are there. HTBT cotton, it includes Bacillus thuringiensis and another bacteria called as HT. I am not able to recall that name, and both the genes are included in the cotton. It results in drought resistance as well as pest tolerance. Okay, these are certain applications of digital data sequencing. And then bioprospecting. What is bioprospecting? Bioprospecting is systematic and organized search of useful products derived from the bioresources, including plants, microorganisms, animals, that can be developed further for the commercialization and overall benefits of society. You know the digital library, you know the digital sequencing. With the help of this digital sequence, you are going to develop various products such as pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, and other commercial purposes. Okay, for example, in pharmaceutical, best example is of penicillin. What is penicillin? It is a antibiotic, or it is a drug which was developed by what's his name? I forgot his name. It was developed by him using the bacteria. Okay, and then it can also help in precision medicine, where a patient's genetic makeup is analyzed for personal medicine treatment and product development. Okay, so these are all the advantages of digital sequencing, and why it is important to adopt multilateral mechanism in COP16. Now we understood the importance of digital sequencing, but why it is important to bring at the level of like COP16. So at COP16, countries are aiming to create a single multilateral system of focused on generating revenues for conservation of from the use of DSIs. Okay, instead of each country having the databases of their species, you can make a single multilateral system focused on genetics revenue. Okay, there should be a single multilateral which is open or available for all the countries, where all the countries can get the benefit out of it. And here it also aims at access and benefit sharing, that is to globally determine the access and benefit sharing mechanisms for digital sequence information. If a country is going to share its digital sequence information about its species, about its individuals, about its microorganisms, if another country is going to use that sequences, another going to use that database, and if he is going to make a vaccine, or suppose if he is going to make a cosmetic product, and if he is getting the benefit out of it, that benefit should be shared to the host country also. These are all the mechanisms which are being discussed in the COP16. Okay, global access to genetic resource it also aims to facilitate the free exchange of genetic data through publicly accessible database. Complex law system, the laws to govern the use of genetic resources or materials vary widely from country to country, complicating the sharing of biological material for research. So this thing is also being discussed in COP16 to make a like universal law, where the law can deal with these kind of issues. Okay, so it is also dealing with intellectual property rights to determine the ownership of digitally sequenced genes and how they can be patented or commercialized, and also discusses about ethical implications so that all this digital library data cannot be misused by individuals. Okay, such as genetic modification or bioweapons for development. This database can also be used in development of bioweapons, and there have been also cases where these have been used for designer babies. Okay, this is kind of unethical. Even before the baby is born, you are going to make modifications for the baby. Okay, the baby has no choice in this one, so it is unethical. And revenue for the countries. So here, if a country is going to share its genetical data, if its species and other microorganisms database with other country, then the other country which is using those databases and getting the profit out of it should provide certain royalty for the host country. So in the coming days, the discussions will be around determining how DSI revenue will be distributed for the use of nature conservation, develop a charging mechanism for certain sectors like pharmaceuticals or percentage of their revenue to profit DSI databases. Okay, if any pharmaceutical industry is getting the benefit out of DSI shared by a particular country, then that pharmaceutical company should provide certain royalty to the country. That will be discussed in COP17 maybe next year. And then ensure the free access for non-profit research and benefit humanity. Okay, so this is about DSI library. Hope it is clear for you. These are the 7 articles which I have chosen from various newspapers. Hope you understood the importance of these articles. If you have any doubts, do write in the comment box. If you have any suggestion for me, also write in the comment box. If you like the video, like it, comment on it and share it with your friends. With this, I will end the video. Jai Hind.